On live stream. I don't know about Facebook.
You're live.
What?
To something.
We're live to something.
Maybe.
Oh, folks, this is crazy. Oh. We have like a world-class blizzard going on in Bozeman today. And we can't get this thing to go live. And all of a sudden, after 12 minutes of, well, probably 35 minutes of troubleshooting, Marcus got it to go live, but right now I don't see it live on my feed. How about you?
We're on YouTube.
We're on YouTube?
Yep.
All right, let me see if I can pull up YouTube then. Oh, we're live on live stream.
We got some comments on YouTube.
We already got comments on YouTube. Let's let her rip then on YouTube. What do we got, Marcus? I'm trying to get there.
First question is, should I go and hunt whitetail in Idaho next year?
Yes, go hunt whitetail in Idaho. That was the question. Should I hunt whitetail in Idaho next year? And Idaho has unbelievable whitetail hunting in the northern part of the state. The season runs really late. You get to hunt them with a rifle in the rut. And the good news is tags are easy to draw, and there's a lot of public land. So anyhow, we lost our Facebook feed. We probably lost some of our other feeds. So we're going with just live stream and YouTube feeds right now. Is that right, Marcus?
As far as I can tell.
All right. Merry Christmas, everybody. This is just so typical for living out in the hinterlands like we do. We have this Broadcaster Pro device that connects to some satellite up there, I believe. And I don't know if it's the Russians, the North Koreans, or just Santa Claus flew over in this blizzard and we're out of luck. But anyhow, we want to talk about Wyoming elk applications because the Wyoming regulation booklet came out today. But we also want to thank all of the companies that make Elk Talk Live something that every one of us get to enjoy all the time. Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx Maps, GoHunt.com, Tight Spot Quivers, Ripcord Arrow Rests, Black Gold Sights, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation. And there's two of those companies, and you hear it every week. If you use promo code Randy, you get a benefit. Onyx.com, OnyxMaps.com. If you go there and use promo code Randy, you're going to get 20% off their apps. And if you go to GoHunt.com and use promo code Randy, you're going to get $50 of free gear credit. And they have this cool gear shop. You're going to get $50 of free credit if you sign up for their insider by using Randy, R-A-N-D-Y. And if you want to be notified, normally this thing works really smooth. You want to text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 77453. So let's get into Wyoming. You see us hunt Wyoming every time we can. And the reason we're going to talk about Wyoming today is, like I said, the booklet came out, and it's the first state out of the chutes. January 31st is the deadline for Wyoming elk. You find out by February 22nd. Yeah, so you find out in time that you still have all the other states available to you. And Wyoming has a point system. 75% of the tags go to the people with the most preference points, and it's preference points, not bonus points. And the other 25% of the tags are just in a random draw. So every year you still have a chance because of the 25% that go in a random draw. Wyoming has amazing elk hunting. Lots of public land. I would say if you look at the combination of opportunity and public land and quality, Wyoming is a really good deal for your money. The downside about Wyoming is this year there's a pretty big fee increase for non-residents. It's just how it goes. It's getting more and more expensive every year if you want to hunt as a non-resident. But we go there whenever we can. There's also, so you think about all these limited entry tags that are some of these, I'll call them glory units. Wyoming also has where non-residents can put in for the general tag. And the general tag doesn't restrict you to one unit that you've applied for. I think there's 40 or 50 units that general tag is good for. The other good part about Wyoming is you're applying for a tag, and in the regulations it always lists what the rifle dates are. Well, not all, but just about all of the units, you can come early and hunt with a bow from September 1st to September 30th. You just got to buy the archery stamp. There are a few units, mostly in the Bighorn Mountains, where the only way you can archery hunt is if you get a Type 9 tag, which is different than the Type 1 tag. So the Type 1 tags mostly are always rifle tags, and sometimes also let you hunt archery. The Type 9, you're only there archery hunting. So that's a ton of information, I know, but I'm just trying to tell you, go to WyomingGameandFish.com. Even if you don't apply, Wyoming has a period, I think it starts July 1st and runs through the end of September. You can go and buy a preference point for the next year. So if you miss the deadline, it's not the end of the world, but you'll see that in our strategy, when we start doing these videos and we get into this in more depth, the idea is whatever your budget is, think about how you can allocate that and how you can apply for some of the earlier states so you get your money back in time to apply for some of the later states. You can get a lot of applications out there with a smaller budget if you do it that way. So, what do we got, Marcus? Anything there?
Someone's wondering if you're going to be in Arizona for the over-the-counter archery deer tag.
Am I going to be in Arizona for the over-the-counter archery deer tag? Yes, I am. We're going to take this for a new test drive down there. Myself, David Brinker of Sitka Gear is coming. Hank Shaw is coming. We're going to be down there, and we're going to be hunting a spot where the coos deer are in the mountains, but we're going to a new spot this year. And there's some, in the lower country, there's some mule deer. So we have the benefit of being able to hunt coos deer and mule deer at the same time in January on an over-the-counter tag with tons of public land. And I have to go to the SHOT Show the week before that, so Marcus, the production dude here running this operation, and his wife are going to go down a week early and show you how to archery hunt javelina. Because last year I tried to show you how to do it and I failed. But anyhow, I'm going to give that new rain a workout. I hope I get a shot. Last year we got so close. If you watched it on our YouTube channel, oh man. This year, this is the year. Right, Marcus?
I sure hope so.
Okay, Marcus says he hopes so. I'm saying it is. He's just hoping. All right, what else we got? I can't get connected to the YouTube channel here with my device, so we're going to have to limp through this.
Someone asked, what are your 5 favorite books?
My 5 favorite books. I get asked that a lot. And we did a podcast. If you go to our Hunt Talk Radio podcast, I think it was about a month ago, where we went through, had all the books laying out of everything that I read. And my books are mostly conservation books. You know, there's always the Sand County Almanac by Aldo Leopold. I always throw that on the list. The Big Burn is one of my favorite ones. Gosh, I always forget Michael Plunke's book. Gosh, it's about the bison, the Last Stand. The Last Stand, yeah. I don't know why I always forget the name of it. I can see this beautiful yellow cover with this bison on it. That's a great book. Man, there's so many of them. Jim Posowitz has 3 books that they're really easy to read. They're really small. Beyond Fair Chase, Inherit the Hunt, and Rifle in Hand. Those are always good ones. There's lots of them, but my reading list is heavily swayed towards conservation and conservation history. And right now that's the stuff I'm reading. Posowitz has a new book coming out. I got to read an advanced copy of it. It's going to be a really cool book because Jim is 80, well, I don't know what he is now, 82, 84. And he talks about his career. And when you read it, you realize that conservation is never easy, it's never convenient, and it's always uncomfortable. And Jim, through this new book that he's got coming, has a lot of that stuff in there. So once that book is available, I'll make sure and let people know where they can get it and what it is. So, and also, if you're an elk hunter, everyone asks me what's the best book to get elk hunting just information and science and data. And this is a really old book, but it's really good. Jack Ward Thomas recently passed away. His book, Elk and Elk Ecology, I believe is what it's called, is really, really good. It will tell you so much about what elk eat, where they bed, what their needs are, all these things about their seasonal lifetime needs, or seasonal needs throughout their lifetime. It's a really, really good book. That was a long answer to a short question.
Well, it's $5.
Okay. Yeah, I had to list off 5 of them. I think I covered 5.
Have you ever made elk liver pate?
Have I ever made elk liver pate? I have not. Have you, Marcus?
No.
Marcus eats just about everything. So if he hasn't, I think he eats hooves. If he hasn't made pate, I don't know that there's a good elk liver pate recipe. One of my friends is a fanatic waterfowl hunter, and I've eaten his, and you're going to laugh, goose and duck liver pate. And I think he makes it out of their liver. I should ask Jack, what are you making this out of? but it's really good. But to answer that question, no, I haven't done it. So one thing, Marcus, are we going to go to Wyoming and fill my cow tag, or are we just going to let it rest?
That's up to you.
I have, so talking about Wyoming, sometime if you apply for certain of the any elk or bull elk tags, they convert to cow tags later in the season. So when Marcus shot his bull, we had the same tag. He shot a bull in September. We hit the road. We had to get out of there, go on other hunts. And now I'm still sitting on my tag, and starting like November 20th until January 31st, it's a cow tag. It rolls over from being a bull tag to a cow tag. So we're trying to figure out, if we get through the Christmas season, if we can go down and fill more freezer, right?
Someone does have a Wyoming elk-related question.
Oh, a Wyoming elk-related question. What do we got?
So can a non-resident apply for a reduced price cow calf tag as well as accrue a preference point in Wyoming?
Can a non-resident apply for a reduced price cow calf tag and also get a preference point for that year? If you make your first choice one of the choices that, well, let me think about that. That's a good question. I don't have that. I'm afraid I'm going to tell you the wrong thing. What most people do is they apply for, of course, but then you don't get it at the reduced price. I believe the answer is no. If you draw a tag of any sort, don't believe you can get a preference point. But let me look into that, and maybe next week I'll have the true answer. I'm going to lead somebody astray here, and they're going to count on what I said. And I'll tell you part of what it is. I'm not familiar with how the reduced price ones work. Well, I'm familiar with how they work. I never apply for them. So that's why I'm a little unsure of myself. So I know if you apply for it as your first choice, the odds are you're going to get it. And you're not going to be able to buy a preference point that year. I do know that. So now someone's going to email me and say, no, you're wrong, Newberg. So what else we got?
What are your predictions for the recovery of mule deer in southeast Idaho and western Wyoming after the 2016-17?
Oh, my prediction for the recovery of mule deer in southeast Idaho and western Wyoming after one of the most brutal winters in my lifetime for that area, really knocked the mule deer herds down there. My prediction is pretty much like anyone else. It's going to be a guess, because all it's going to take is another bad winter, and whatever build back there is in the herds is going to, we're going to lose it. Normally, if you can go 4 years, 5 years without another really hard winter, they'll start coming back. You'll see really good numbers, because usually you lose all of that year's fawns, and a lot of the does abort the fawns. So you lose the fawns that were born the year before, and you lose the fawns that were in the gestation period. So you almost lose 2 age classes. So you end up, it's not until the next year that you really get a good crop of fawns, and then it takes 3 or 4 years for them to enter the age class that you're looking for. So I always tell people, once you get a really bad winter, if in the Rockies here, you need about 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years to get to that peak of where the good deer hunting comes back. And if they can go that long without another harsh winter, they should be able to do it.
Following up, someone asks, do you know of any areas hit hard by the winter this year?
Do I know of any areas that are having a hard winter this year? No, actually, right now, other than, who knows, this might be the start of it, right, Marcus? Out at my house right now, I've got snow drifts that are just crazy. And all day long, I've been shoveling snow, but maybe this is the start of something. You never know. Usually it's best to look at that in late January or in February. Those are really the critical months. If you don't get a break then, it can be really, really tough. Colorado kind of escaped last year's harsh winter. There were some places that were tough, but if you're a mule deer hunter, maybe put Colorado on your map. Shh, but don't tell everybody. No, all the Colorado guys are going to be like, Newberg, shut up. Oh, I wish I could get some of these questions to show up on my phone. What am I doing wrong, Marcus?
You gotta have the app.
Oh, you gotta have a YouTube app?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a YouTube app. I just have a Dealy Bob shortcut thing here that says.
It shows up on the computer too. But
Really? All right.
it's not showing up on here.
It's not showing up. But what's the next question?
Do you have an all-around deer rifle caliber?
Do I have an all-around deer rifle caliber? I do. I'm going to try this YouTube thing. For me, my all-around deer rifle caliber is probably my 7mm 08. But I've shot a lot of them with my 308. Oh, look at that! I do have an app on my computer.
There you go.
Man, what a country. What a country. Huh. But I lost it. All right. So 7mm 08 for deer. This year, let's see. This year, actually, I shot my deer with my 308 because I was letting someone else use my 7mm 08 at the time. And in my 308, I have my 165 grain Nosler partitions. In my 7mm 08, I use 140 grain Nosler AccuBonds. So those are my go-tos. What am I doing wrong here? All right.
What are your favorite marinades for meat?
Oh, my favorite marinades for meat. I can't tell you my wife's favorite or she'll divorce me. She's got a lot of reasons to divorce me, but that'd be another one. Here's a really simple one. Lowry's beef meat tenderizer. It's for beef, and it's Lowry's. Don't get the other kind. All it takes, I think, is 2/3 cup of water. I don't know what's in there, why it works so well, but it works the best of any over-the-counter marinade that I've ever used. So it's really, really good. All right. Oh, look at this. Live chat over here in the corner.
Oh, there you go.
Huh. I'm telling you, folks, I'm learning something new every day. How can it be that this is... All right. What else we got, Marcus?
Had multiple...
Someone wants
to
us...
know if you're going to apply for grizzly bear, if you can.
No, I won't be applying for Montana grizzly bear. And actually, someone asked us that out on our Hunt Talk website today. And I sat on the governor's grizzly bear roundtable for 3 years. I was one of the 5 Montana people with 5 from Idaho, 5 from Wyoming. And we spent 3 years helping the feds, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, craft the Greater Yellowstone Grizzly Bear Conservation Strategy. And I went to Alaska and hunted grizzly bears before. Had my grandpa live in there, so I didn't have to hire a guide. But it just, now that I've done that, there are people who are really passionate about it, and I want them. I would rather someone else who hasn't ever done it before to get the tag and go do it. So you won't have to compete against me in that, and it's not at all an issue that I have a problem with it. In fact, when I sat on the governor's grizzly bear roundtable, I pounded the table saying one of the requirements, one of the expectations is when the states get control, it is expected that they will use hunting as one of the management tools. So I'm all about it. I just hope the states do it right. I hope they make it more of a backcountry experience, and I guess we'll see how it goes. If the lawsuits ever unwind. I mean, that's the thing that happens, is this will be litigated for years and years and years. So I wouldn't, if I was thinking about applying, I wouldn't get too excited, because there's all kinds of safety nets and thresholds of how much human-caused mortality is allowed under that plan. Human-caused mortality is garbage bears, problem bears, bears run over in the park. You'd be surprised. We live near Yellowstone here. How many bears are hit by vehicles? So once the human-caused mortality is calculated as a percentage of the population and a percentage of the subquota of the female population, only then will there be any allowed hunting as additional human-caused mortality. So don't get your hopes up that there's going to be a lot of it. So, Randy, are you ever going to hunt waterfowl? We were just talking about that, weren't we, Marcus?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. People know that I'm like the nuisance animal removal guy here, beaver and muskrats. So a guy called me last weekend and said, hey, will you come out and get rid of these muskrats that are ruining the banks on this spring creek that I just worked so hard to get restored? And when you're out here, will you shoot some ducks? Yeah, I think we can do that, can't we, Marcus? Yeah. So we will probably be doing some waterfowl hunting. Season closes in Montana January, I think. Here it's going to close like the 12th or something like that. So, Merry Christmas. A lot of people are saying Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all you also. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. What else we got, Marcus? I'm scanning through a whole bunch of these. Am I in Bozeman right now? Yeah, I am. It's snowing like crazy. Are you ever going to come to South Dakota to hunt? You know, I keep thinking about that. South Dakota is one of the latest applications that we have. I did an archery mule deer hunt in North Dakota in December in season 2 of On Your Own Adventures. It was the coldest hunt I've ever done in my life. I'm never going back to North Dakota, western North Dakota, in December when it's 15 below and blowing 25 miles an hour. Never. So hopefully if I go to South Dakota, it's not going to be that brutal. But I've not been there. It's always on my list. It just seems that when their application comes later in the year, we've already got all of our tags that we need, and so I end up not even applying in South Dakota. So, let's see. What else we got, Marcus?
What are your thoughts on Aquamira drops for water purification instead of filtration?
Aquamira drops for water purification instead of filters. I carry them in my pack. They're in my emergency kit. We've had to use them before. 2 years ago, we were in New Mexico. We were with Bruce Pettit, CEO of Leupold Optics, and he shot a bull down in this canyon, and we ran out of water. Fortunately, there was a little, just like a stream about that wide and about that deep trickling through there. And with my Aquamira tablets, we were able to treat water. It didn't taste that great, but we were able to treat it. Nobody got sick. I always carry that in my emergency kit in my pack. I prefer filters way over the Aquamira stuff, though. So, does cow hunting experience equal bull hunting when I draw one? Yes, go and hunt cows. You're going to learn a lot about elk hunting by hunting cows. I mean, just so many parts of it. The field processing, how they behave, how big they are, what you're dealing with when you have one on the ground. The public-private landscape, knowing how to read maps and property boundaries, learning how elk use thermals and use the landscape. So there's a lot to be learned about elk hunting by hunting cows. And I'm of the opinion that any elk is a trophy, from a cow all the way up to the biggest bull. So if you shoot one, you should be proud, eat it, enjoy it, and come back and do it again. All right, what do you got, Marcus?
Someone who is 51 years old and new to the West, should they play the point game or just go over the counter?
How old?
51.
Someone 51 years old and new to the West, should they jump in and start buying points and playing the point game in these Western states, or should they just go over the counter? They should do both. You should be building points in Colorado, in Wyoming, in Arizona, and then go over the counter in Colorado, maybe in Montana, where Idaho, wherever you can, and be building points in some of these states if your budgets allow. And then it doesn't take 4, maybe 5 points in some of those states. I mean, we were just in Arizona this fall, right? 4 points. I drew a rifle elk tag in the rut with 4 points. So I say jump in and do it. And the place where you're going to get the most benefit for your points, Arizona and Wyoming, Colorado, followed by Colorado. And do both. That's what I'd say. If your budget allows it, do both. I'm 53, and if you took all my points today, I'd still be in this point game. So, all right.
Have you ever run into a grizzly bear while hunting?
Have I ever run into a grizzly bear while hunting? Yes, twice. This is a good one. I'm glad someone brought this up. So we did a video. Do we have our bear spray here, Marcus? Yeah. We did a video about bear spray. And a lot of guys give me grief. Well, I can't believe you trust bear spray. I'm using a handgun. All right here. So it's both times when I ran into grizzly bears, I was archery hunting, and it happened so fast that if that bear, both of them decided to go the other direction, but it happened so fast, and it's not like they say, hey, I'm here, and they give you time. It's thick stuff. It's coming around the corner or the rise in a trail. And both of those bears, if they would have decided to come after me, there's no way I could have drawn a handgun. I would not have had time. I would have been left somehow struggling, trying to defend him while he's on my head. And your first instinct is to go like this and talk to guys who've been attacked by grizzly bears. I've talked to quite a few of them. When you do that, the first thing the bear does is bite your arm off, and they break your arm, ruin your tendons, and there's your handgun shooting hand. This is a really close range weapon and a deterrent. I don't carry a handgun when I'm hunting in grizzly country. I carry this pepper spray. And all the studies show, and some people even question me, I don't even think there are studies. Yeah, there are studies. They show that pepper spray, bear spray, is a greater deterrent than a handgun. The other thing they show is that, I can't remember what it was, but like 20 or 25% of the events where someone tries to fend off a grizzly bear, one of the people, either the person getting attacked or one of the bystanders, ends up getting hurt by the discharged firearm. And so it is a risky take, and for the people who think, well, I'm really good with a handgun, and when he comes, I'm going to shoot him. Well, guess what? He's going to be on you before you can usually draw that handgun, because you're walking around, it's not like you're walking around with your handgun ready. You usually have a bugle in your mouth and you're ready. You're thinking, oh, where'd he go? And you're completely unprepared. So bear spray, to me, is the ticket. And I hunt in grizzly country a lot. It's just where the really good elk hunting is in Montana and Wyoming. You eventually kind of get used to it, but I will admit there's always like this this extra sense of, what was that noise? And when grouse fly out underneath your feet, so there's nothing that will get your blood pressure spiked than seeing a fresh grizzly track in the trail, and you walk down into some brush and up flushes a rough grouse or a blue grouse. That is grounds for shooting that grouse, besides the fact that I shoot them all because I like to eat them. But all right, what else we got, Marcus?
Are there any good over-the-counter rifle hunts in Montana?
Are there any good over-the-counter rifle hunts in Montana? Are they asking elk or deer?
I assume elk.
Marcus is back there saying, no, don't tell him. Yeah, there are some, but you really got to work at it. Here's what happens in Montana, and this is why I say Montana is a better archery state for over-the-counter general tags than it is a rifle tag. The high country in the west is usually the Forest Service, the public land, and that's where the cows are in September. There's still good feed up there. Well, if the cows are there, that's where the bulls are going to be. As quick as the feed dries up, the rut's over, hunting pressure and weather move the cows lower, the valleys are mostly private land. And that is when rifle season opens. Not all the elk are on private land, but I'm just I want people to have a reasonable expectation. You're going to see way more elk on private land in the rifle season than you will in the archery season. So other states, there are some states where they don't have as much private land as Montana does. But if you're going to come and hunt Montana, there are some good places over the counter, whether rifle or bow. Just understand you're going to have a lot more hunting pressure in rifle season, and you're going to have a lot fewer elk that all those hunters are looking for. Did that answer it to your satisfaction, Marcus, or are you going to give me the bad eye?
That's good.
Okay. Marcus is pretty possessive of his hunting spots, so, or as we all are. Holy cow. With my schedule, how do I have time to read? I don't have much time to read. We were on the road over 100 days this year. It was, it's hard. Someone saying, Randy can't see this chat. Marcus is reading it. We have solved that, folks. What else you got, Marcus?
Someone asked, why do you prefer the third elk rifle season as opposed to the fourth? I'm assuming Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. Why do I like the third rifle elk season in Colorado rather than the fourth? Well, because the third you can get over the counter. The fourth season is a draw. So there's 2 seasons you can get over the counter for rifle, the second season and the third season. The fourth season you got to draw. Usually what I do is I build points in Colorado, and if I don't draw, when it fits my calendar, I go and I just hunt one of the over-the-counter seasons, either second or third. Well, second season has so much hunting pressure, lots and lots of hunting pressure. So I prefer to go to the third season. And a lot of people say, well, the elk are already scared, and some of them have already been shot. And yep, you're right. But those elk have responded to all that hunting pressure from the first season, or the second rifle season, and that has pushed them into sanctuary areas, and it makes it easier to actually locate where they're going to be. They're not going to be dispersed like they usually are. They're going to be grouped up. They're going to be in small locations, but when you find them, it's predictable, and there's going to be more of them. The density, I guess I should say, is going to be higher. So mostly it's a function of calendar and schedule, and the fact that I don't want to burn points to draw a fourth tag. So, all right, what else we got?
How do you go about finding out what winter range is for elk?
How do we go about finding winter ranges for elk? Well, in some states they have maps that show it, like Colorado. Again, we'll use that as an example. A lot of times I call biologists because they will tell you. And a lot of it is common sense. If you're in a place in the north where you have a lot of snow, the winter range is going to be lower country, and the elk are going to migrate down lower. Now, if you get places like New Mexico, Arizona, maybe Nevada, where there's usually not snow in the elk country, or there's very little snow, not enough to really impact them, that gets to be a little harder. Those times of year usually are drier times of year. The big peak of moisture in the southwest states is in July, August, September. That's their monsoon season. Then it starts drying out. Well, a lot of times in the winter, in the late season, those elk have to focus more on water sources, and they will move around the landscape, not like a migration type movement, but to wherever the water is. So it's really a research question that you're probably going to find out from the Game and Fish websites or by talking to their biologists. All right. How are my Oregon plans with my son coming along? It's funny you should say that. We were talking over the weekend. We want to do a full video about he and I going to a state we've never even applied in before and going doing something new. So we're going to try to fit that on the calendar this year. Not sure if we'll get it on, but we're going to try. So it's coming along, but not well, Oregon deadline isn't here. It'll be here in a couple months. So when are you hunting oryx down here in New Mexico? You know, I used to apply there. Oryx are an introduced species that New Mexico has free-range hunts for oryx. Yeah, that's cool. But our show is all about native species and native landscapes, so we've kind of crossed oryx off the list. Not because I don't want to go hunt them. Before we started the TV show and these platforms, I used to apply all the time, but I never drew. So the odds are you're probably not going to see us down there because they're not a native species. We want to tell conservation stories about native species and native landscapes. So, have I ever hunted near Flagstaff, Arizona? A lot. If you go to our YouTube channel right now, there's an Arizona elk hunt we just filmed, what, 2 months ago, Marcus? That's filmed outside of Flagstaff. Thanks for all the great Christmas wishes. This is so nice of people. Man, Merry Christmas to all of you. Hey, Randy, how do you pick your hunting units in Nevada? Well, let's talk about that. Nevada gives you 5 choices, right? And again, we're going to do videos on this, every one of these states, and you're going to see how I use 2 main resources. Onyx Maps, because it shows me the public-private land, and then GoHunt.com, their insider service. I use those. I have one up on each of my, I've got the double screens here. And so in Nevada, they look at all 5 choices before they go on to the next person. Well, my first choice is like swing for the fences. If somehow my lucky number came up, man, I'm going to have a great hunt. My second choice is pretty much a swing for the fences. My third choice, pretty average odds for whatever point level I'm at. And then it just gets, my last choice, I just want to go. So my last choice, it might be archery, because let's use mule deer. The rifle tags are the hardest to draw, followed by the muzzleloader, and then the archery are the easiest to draw. So in deer, I'll usually make an archery choice as my last choice. You can mix and match choices by weapon type in Nevada. So my strategy is really tough as my first 1 or 2 choices, a little bit easier as my third choice, fourth choice, getting even easier draw odds, and my 5th choice is please just let me go. Let me come to Nevada. So I use that same strategy, whether it's deer, elk, antelope, desert bighorn, all the above. So I can't say that, oh, you got to have this unit or you got to have that unit. For me, I just want to go. So I know if I can get to a unit with a decent amount of public land and we work hard and we scout, we do all of our advanced e-scouting or desk scouting, as I call it, we'll find some animals. So, oh, let's see. What else we got, Marcus? Gosh, I just got this itty-bitty little box I'm trying to read these from. I'm sure there's a way to make this bigger.
Do you have a dream hunt planned for 2018?
Do I have a dream hunt planned for 2018? Boy, we've been talking about that, haven't we? Gosh, it's going to depend on what tags I draw. So I'm going to apply for some dream hunts. I'm getting really high up the stack of Utah bison points. There aren't too many non-residents with more Utah bison points than I have. So that would be fun. I've drawn bison in Montana and shot a bull. I drew bison in Wyoming, a cow bison, and it was a tough year and I didn't shoot one. That might be a dream hunt. And I always do moose, goat, and sheep in Montana. Those are always dream hunts. And I do sheep applications in all the other states. But
following up on that, someone just asked, how long have you been applying for sheep and have you ever drawn a tag?
Oh, so Marcus said someone followed up with a question of how long have I applied for sheep hunts and have I ever drawn a tag? I've applied in Montana for 26 years for sheep. I've never drawn a tag. I have almost 20 points in Arizona and Nevada, and I've never drawn a tag. I've applied in New Mexico. I've applied in Colorado. I've applied in Wyoming. I've applied in Idaho. I've never drawn a sheep tag. But let's think about it. The odds of drawing a sheep tag are so slim in the lower 48 that if you do draw in your lifetime, you've really beat the odds. It's just reality of life. So don't count on seeing me on a sheep hunt. But we did one this year. We went to Nevada. Our buddy Mike Spitzer had the tag, and we filmed it. It was a great hunt. I thought, don't you, Marcus?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mike shot a really, really nice ram. So it was a ton of fun. Ooh, someone asked if we're going to hunt any Mearns quail when we're in Arizona. I hope so. That's the idea. Buddy Wade and what's his dog's name? Shiloh. Yeah, he has got the best dog in the world. Man, she's just, oh gosh, she's so good. Okay, have I ever hunted so back to sheep. Why are we talking so much about sheep? A lot of sheep questions today. So Montana has and the question is, have I ever hunted any of the unlimited bighorn sheep units in Montana? We have 4 or 5 units where anyone can apply and you're guaranteed the tag. But they are such tough units. And they have a quota, usually 1 to 2 rams, and that quota fills and it's closed. And there's a reason why they can give away an unlimited number of tags there. The terrain is that bad. And since I've always been building points, I don't want to burn my points in Montana on a tag that I could get every year as an unlimited tag. So I've not done it, and I probably never will. I'm getting too old. All right, what else you got, Marcus?
Do you lose your preference points in Wyoming if you draw a second choice tag?
Do you lose your preference points in Wyoming if you draw your second choice? No. You get a point. You only lose your points in Wyoming if you draw your first choice. Now, some states, like Arizona, you lose them if you draw your first or second choice. In Nevada, you lose them if you draw any of your 5 choices. So you're going to find out as we talk about this over the next months. Every state has different rules. Don't think that because it's this way in Montana, it's going to be that way in Wyoming, or this way in Colorado, or that way in wherever. So in Wyoming, you only lose your points if you draw your first choice. So, okay. Do I hunt coyotes? Yeah, I do. I haven't for a couple of years. I've just been too busy. It's just not had time. Randy, whatever happened to old Bessie the cow from your earlier seasons of On Your Own Adventure? We called those around on a couple hunts this year, didn't we, Marcus? The black moo cow decoys we hide behind?
Oh, last year we did, for sure.
Yeah, and this year we brought them with, but we never employed them. So we carry them along, we just end up not using them. So if you go and watch our old On Your Own Adventures episodes on YouTube, you'll see them. It's kind of funny. Oh gosh, some of these questions are funny. I'm not going to answer that one. What do you got, Marcus? Anything?
I don't know if this is the one where you got any tax advice for writing off hunting gear.
Yeah, I saw that one. So someone here knows I'm a CPA in my other life. I disinherit the federal treasury for a living. And they asked, do I have any tax advice for writing off hunting gear? I don't. You can only write off equipment and other expenses against trade or business activity. So you better have some legitimate trade or business activity if you're going to try to write that off. And I don't want to I can see myself getting some liability claims against me because I gave some free tax advice. Understand that when I give advice, it's probably worth what you paid for it. Where am I pronghorn hunting this year? Boy, I don't know, but I hope everywhere. I think we have enough points I should draw in Wyoming. Marcus, you should draw in Wyoming.
Sure hope so.
I'll have a Montana archery tag, but other than that, I don't know for sure. We'll see, but I love it, and I eat that stuff. In fact, we're getting ready to put online a New Mexico elk hunt, and on that New Mexico elk hunt, we ate all the back straps off that antelope we shot before. We ate a lot of antelope for that one session. The whole grill was covered with antelope meat. I love it. Will I ever try to get a caribou rifle tag? Yeah, I apply every year. The Alaska deadline was last Friday. I've been applying for this special caribou tag in Alaska for, I don't know, 10, 12 years. The odds are slim. So I'm probably never going to draw. And people are like, well, why don't you just go? Because there are places in Alaska you don't need to draw. But there's this one spot that's kind of special to me because I spent some time there with my family and saw some caribou, and I said, someday I want to come back and do it. So that's why I apply there. So
Someone from Tennessee and wants to go on their first elk hunt, where can they find a guide, or would you recommend anyone in particular?
Someone from Tennessee wants to go on their first elk hunt. Can I recommend a guide? And what was the last part?
Or just like, where could you go to find a guide?
Or where could they go to find a guide? You know, hiring a guide can be a little bit of a crapshoot. I'm trying to think how we could connect.
Call references, probably.
Yeah, make sure whatever you do, Marcus, is like, yeah, call references. It would depend on what state. I know a lot of outfitters in states. And I refer a lot of people to outfitters because a lot of folks will say, Randy, I love what you do, that whole self-guided public land thing, but I live in, you know, this person says Tennessee. I don't have the gear, I don't have the equipment, I've never been there. Can you tell me an outfitter who can show me the ropes the first time? And I'm happy to do that. I know some really good outfitters who can give you a very good experience. So, but without knowing what state, what weapon, it'd be hard for me to rattle them all off here. But whatever you do, whoever refers you to them, make sure you check references. Not just references of people who were successful. Ask for some references of people who maybe weren't successful. So, oh gosh. What power magnification range do you recommend for a hunting spotting scope? Well, that would depend on if you're hunting antelope or hunting in the mountains. If I'm hunting in the mountains, I have a Leupold Gold Ring. It's a 60 millimeter, and I believe that's a 12 to 40 is the magnification power. If you're hunting antelope and you're not walking far and the spotting scope's in the truck, for that I have an 80 millimeter, and I think that's a 20 to 60 magnification. So depends on what you're doing is really the answer, and how much weight you're willing to carry. The 60 millimeter, the Leupold Gold Ring, is the lightest, most compact spotters I've ever found in a 60 millimeter. And it's a great piece of glass. So, holy cow. You know, we got on late, Marcus, but we're doing pretty good. I mean, the Facebook folks aren't going to be happy because we lost them, but hopefully the YouTube crowd and the live stream crowd is liking this. Just want to make sure that all of you understand that the reason we can do this free of charge, that it doesn't cost anything, is because of the companies that support this platform. And it's just so nice of them to do it. I said, if you guys will pay the cost, I'll sit down every Wednesday night and I'll do my best to answer as many elk questions as I can find. And you hear me talk about them, and I mention them because they support us. They support the whole concept of public lands, of our self-guided hunting idea. Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx Maps, GoHunt.com, Black Gold, here, right here. Black Gold, Ripcord. I don't have my tight spot quiver on here, but it connects right here. Who else am I forgetting? Gosh, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody when I got distracted there. But anyhow, those are great companies that make this available to us. And if you want to get notified for everything, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 77453. And one of the things you're going to see, we just put up this week 2 new episodes on our Amazon Video Direct channel. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can watch us on their Video Direct platform for free. And we just put up 2 new episodes from season 3 of Fresh Tracks. Seasons 4 and 5 are there. And let's see, we have an antelope hunt from just this year we filmed that's ready to go. We're going to have a New Mexico elk hunt ready in early January. We're going to have Marcus's Wyoming elk hunt in late January. We got a sheep hunt. We got a bunch of cool stuff coming. So if you're watching us on YouTube, we appreciate that. Keep watching us. Share with your friends. The more subscribers we have, the more YouTube promotes us. But our Amazon channel is really, really helpful also. And then you got our podcast, right? We were supposed to do a podcast today. Our guest lives up in Augusta, Montana, and in the blizzard, he called me. He's like, hey, Randy, I'm not going to be there for a podcast. I'm like, how? Don't risk life and limb. We can do that podcast anytime. But the podcast is called Hunt Talk Radio, and you can follow all these and get all this information at randynewberg.com, www.randynewberg.com. We got it all there. Let's do a couple more questions, though, Marcus.
All right. Do you use
Do I use elk pee when I bow hunt? Nope, I don't. There's no use. I'm sweating, I'm running, I'm, dirty and stinky. Elk pee is a waste of time. And now with chronic wasting disease becoming so much of a concern in a lot of these states, I see Montana is, was it this year or is it proposed that they're changing? There's going to be restrictions in a lot of these states about what you can use for elk pee and other attractants. So I don't use it because as active as I am when I'm elk hunting, all it does is make me stink worse than I already do. I know that's probably not what people want to hear, but it's the truth, how I feel on it. So, have I ever hunted the Front Range in Colorado? No, I've not hunted the Front Range. Actually, I've hunted the West Slope, has been where most of my Colorado hunting is. Let's see. All I have is a 7M M08. Is that too small for elk? No, get yourself a 140 grain Nosler E-tip bullet or a 140 grain Nosler partition or Nosler AccuBond. Be good with your shot selections, and that will kill elk. No problem. What else we got, Marcus? Man, there are a ton of questions. How many people are... Is a 270 good for elk? Yes, I shot my first 4-bull elk with a 270. It was very... I was using 150 grain Nosler partitions when I shot that. Can we email you about an outfitter recommendation? Boy, if I give my email, I already got over 1,000 emails sitting in my inbox that my wife has sorted for me while I've been on the road. Maybe later I'll give my email address. I care to elaborate my opinion on the Bears Ear and Utah Monument situations? Not here. I'm not going to. I'm going to do a podcast on it. There's so much misinformation on all sides about this whole monument and public land things. I posted some stuff on my Facebook page the other day, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of people who have formed opinions without having a lot of research and good information in front of them. So I really want to do a podcast about it where we can spend 2 hours getting into it and talking about a lot of things that just are pertinent to the issue. And hopefully that'll cover it, because since the decision came out, there's always been questions on here, and I just don't want to distract this Elk Talk Live from the real intent of what we have here is to give elk hunting information. So let's see. Am I planning to hunt in the Four Corners area anytime soon? Let me think. Maybe if Utah gives me a bison tag. I hunted New Mexico mule deer in Unit 2B. I've never hunted the south, like far southwest corner of Colorado. And I've not hunted the far northeast corner of Arizona. So odds are I probably won't be there anytime soon. So, oh, Randy, what grain bullet would you recommend for a 300 Win mag for elk? I have a 300 Win mag, and I shoot 180 grain Nosler AccuBonds out of that. And it kills a lot of elk. I've also used their 180 grain E-tip. That is like serious medicine. If you saw on our YouTube channel, my son, Matthew, he shot his moose with that 300 Win mag. He's using 180 grain AccuBonds. We've used that for elk with the 180 grain E-tip from Nosler. Whew, that penetrates. I mean, we've hit elk right on the shoulders, and it went completely through both shoulders. I'm like, holy smoke. So for me, I've had my best combination of accuracy and performance with the 180 grain. Make sure you try different things in your rifle. Your rifle might prefer 200 grains instead of 180. So, oh boy. Do I carry a sidearm for protection while bow hunting? No, I don't. I've never felt the need to. And besides that, if you've ever seen me shoot a sidearm, you would know that I'm probably in greater danger than whatever I'm trying to defend myself from. So, you got a last one, Marcus? You got a really good one that you've been waiting on? Oh, here's one. Randy, I want to buy an elk call for a Christmas present. Any recommendations? Rocky Mountain hunting calls. Those are the calls that we use. You see these big bugle tubes we use. We use those. We use the diaphragm calls, but Rocky Mountain hunting calls makes the best elk calls that I've found. So, last one, Marcus. Have you got one that you've been holding on to?
I don't.
Okay. Here's the last one. Randy, do you put in for mountain goat tags? I do. I lucked out. I'd only lived in Montana for, I think it was my fourth year of applying in 1995. Let's see, I applied in 19. Yeah, my fourth year of applying, I drew a mountain goat tag and I shot a really nice billy. And then in Montana, you got to wait 7 years before you can apply again. I've been applying every year since then, and odds are I'm probably never going to draw another mountain goat tag. So, but the next episode that we're making live on our Amazon Prime direct video is going to be a Montana mountain goat hunt. So go to Amazon Prime, go to Video Direct, and type in Randy Newberg Fresh Tracks, or Leupold's Fresh Tracks with Randy Newberg, and they'll all come up. And the next one we're making live, I think we're going to make it live on Christmas Day or sometime next week, is going to be a Montana mountain goat hunt. And Marcus is smiling. What's going on here?
There's one more question. If I give my math teacher some jerky from my elk, do you think he'll give me extra credit?
If I give my math teacher some elk jerky from the elk I shot, will he give me extra credit? If he doesn't, I'd go and talk to the school board or the principal or the superintendent and say, hey, we got to do something with this guy. I mean, elk jerky counts for a lot, man. I mean, that should be like extra credit A+++. You agree, Marcus? Yeah. I don't know where you live, but in Montana, if you gave your math teacher or algebra teacher elk jerky, the odds are you're going to pass that class. You're probably going to get an A. Anyhow, thanks for watching, folks. Have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully we'll have all this technology issue solved for the Facebook folks by next Wednesday. Merry Christmas and thanks for watching.